Let's go places. It was the only game in the NBA today, and it was an early tip-off. And what a battle we had here inside of Moda Center. The Portland Trail Blazers jumped out to an early lead, but the Thunder, behind a second quarter rally, put together an incredible performance to hold off this Portland team down the stretch, thanks to some great moments from guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and of course Jalen Williams, J-Dub. As we welcome you back inside of Moda Center and into Thunder Live, I'm Paris Lawson, and these two teams, they're the youngest two teams in the NBA, and we expected that these two teams would battle it out. This is the third time they're meeting this season. They're pretty familiar with each other, but the Thunder had a little bit of a different lineup here tonight. You got a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein back in the lineup after missing 5 games. A guy like Isaiah Joe back in the lineup after missing 2. Cason Wallace wearing a mask in this game here tonight, but it did not faze this team at all. They battled. They showed some incredible mental fortitude down the stretch of this game as Portland made it a 5-point game after the Thunder led by as many as 19 points, and the Thunder able to hold them off and pick up their 15th consecutive win against the Portland Trail Blazers. Very impressive by this group. All right, let's bring in Chris Fisher and Michael Cage, the voices you heard throughout tonight's game. Get their perspective on this battle we had. It seems like every time these two teams meet, guys, it's always a back and forth battle.
Yeah, thank you, Paris. Like you said, this is the third time that these two teams have met. They're in the Northwest Division. Kind of felt like a division game with the familiarity. Thunder fall behind early, Michael, but this was one of those games where the Blazers just kept coming. They knocked down some threes. They tightened it up from 19 down to single digits, and it took some late-game execution for the Thunder to ultimately pull this out in the fourth quarter.
Well, I thought they did a good job of just surviving that first quarter. The Blazers came out hot, folks. They're coming in on a 4-game winning streak. 3 of those 4 have been on the road, so they're playing with a lot of confidence. 2 of the youngest teams in the association playing tonight. Thunder first, Trailblazers second. And then you have to overcome that first quarter, and then that second quarter where things started to change. The Thunder had their biggest quarter, 39 points. They settled into the game. The bench was a big part of that. And then all of a sudden, they had the Trailblazers chasing them the rest of the game.
Yeah, the Blazers just couldn't quite catch up. You got those shots from J-Dub and SGA late making those plays, Paris, and just too much for the Blazers to overcome. And the Thunder in late in that fourth quarter got it done.
Yeah, the Thunder doing a really good job of offsetting those 18 threes from Portland in this game tonight. That tied a season high for them. And you got a lot of contributions from multiple guys. And Michael Cage, I want to bring you in on this because you talked about this as one of your keys to the game, the bench points by the Thunder in this game. It's a pretty big theme every time the Thunder plays the Trailblazers. It seems like they get a big lift from their second unit. 36 bench points tonight, and Isaiah Joe leading the charge on that.
Well, and you like that because that's been the theme for the first 2 games as well. Now, it's hard to get that a third game because guess what? The team is saying, look, we got to shut down their bench. But not if you got so many multiple guys that can come in and put up numbers. And Paris, that had a lot to do with that second quarter where the Thunder scored those 39 points. Uzman James. It's not just one guy. Everybody contributing. I thought Isaiah Joe he was serving a hot cup of Joe from various points on the floor. Kenrich playing like a cool hand, Luke. Everybody just kind of feeding off of each other. Caruso, his defense, it doesn't show up, Harris, on the stat sheets, but I thought his offense was big when he hit that big 3 tonight.
Yeah, it's not just the scoring that you have to look out for this Thunder second unit. Their identity, they're going to scrap defensively. They're going to compete, and you pointed it out, Michael. They're all over the place. But when it comes to the contributions in this game, we also have to give credit to the Thunder's leading scorer, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Another 30-point performance here tonight. And Chris, I got to get your perspective because at this point, you talked about it in the game. It felt really like something we see from SGA every single night, but you just don't want to take it for granted what he does every single game.
You certainly do not want to take it for granted. 33 points in the NBA, that's not an easy feat. He's the number 1 scorer in the NBA, and he makes difficult plays look easy consistently. Tamani Kamara, he's the Blazers' best defender. There's a reason he's trying to defend SGA, but SGA is so crafty, so smart, so intelligent of getting where he wants to on the floor and getting to those sweet spots to where he's got the confidence to take shots. And then when the game was on the line, he got that double team, and he found Isaiah Hartenstein for a huge bucket, that dunk, and then one of the buckets there late in the fourth quarter to finally put this game away. There is a reason he is a starter in the All-Star game. There's a reason he's an All-Star for the 3rd consecutive season. But if you're a fan of SGA, do not take these performances for granted because he is just so good on a nightly basis.
Makes it look easy, but I assure you it certainly is not. Well, the Thunder had to earn this one here tonight in Portland, and this road trip isn't over, guys, because after this, the Thunder is heading out to the Bay Area to take on the Warriors. What's going to be key for the Thunder going into that matchup? A very different team in the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors, Paris, they're not playing like they were when these first two teams met all the way back in November. The Warriors, they just don't have that offensive punch. They're really relying on Stephen Curry. They're trying to find rotations, Michael, but this is a Warriors team. They did get a win over Oklahoma City in OKC. The Thunder paid it back in San Francisco. And you look at the season series 1-1, the Warriors certainly were scoring better back then in those two matchups. The second chance points, Michael, that's something to keep an eye on for Golden State.
Well, and also, they get a lot of those second chance points, 3-point shots. They shoot almost 40% in the series. That's going to be a 9 p.m. tip out in the Central Time, 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. But anytime you're playing the Warriors, first of all, you got to deal with Stephen Curry. You got to make sure that you can contain him, not allow him to get going, because once he gets going, other guys around him start to play better. Wiggins, all these guys start to play. Jonathan Kuminga, all start to play better if Steph Curry's out there on the floor getting those threes and getting the crowd going.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Central. That's late in Oklahoma, but Thunder Live will get you going at 8:30. One thing about the Warriors, Paris, the one way they can beat you, they take a ton of three-point shots. They play the math game. That's the way the offense goes these days.
Yeah, they may have a few different faces on their roster, but that three-point shooting, that has not changed for this Golden State Warriors team. All right, Chris and Mike, thank you so much as always. I certainly appreciate it. Golden State Warriors coming up next for the Thunder after wrapping it up here in Portland with a 15th consecutive win against the Portland Trail Blazers. All right, stick with us here on Thunder Live. When we come back, we got to talk about the stat stuffer, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, getting it done on both ends of the floor tonight. Trailblazers here inside of Moda Center, and time now to take a look at tonight's Ford Player of the Game, and this goes to Jalen Williams, J-Dub. They call him Mr. Everything. You see how versatile he is out there on the floor, and tonight he finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal, truly stuffing the stat sheet. He got going early in this game with those mid-range jumpers, stretched it out behind the three-point line. But don't forget about his defense. Stepped in and took a charge on Robert Williams III. That is not an easy thing to do. And he finished the night with an incredible scoring performance, even banked one in, a big-time three. The Thunder needed that energy right there in the fourth quarter. And you see all the different ways that J-Dub was able to impact this game here tonight. And don't forget, he's coming off a game against the Dallas Mavericks where he poured in 33 points in that game. And also, every time he plays the Portland Trailblazers this season, he's put up some pretty big numbers like the one we saw here tonight. So incredible performance by Jalen Williams, J-Dub, just continuing to get better with every single opportunity he has out here on the floor. Coach Daigneault said he's one of those guys that just improves with development and growth when he's out here getting this experience. All right, speaking of Coach Daigneault, let's get you over to the press room and hear from Coach Daigneault postgame.
Mark, those guys put some great game pressure on you all at different portions of the game, from the very opening minutes, just knocking down shots, and then again late to cut the game to 5. And I just wonder about what you saw from your team and their response to those different like layers to the game.
Yeah, I thought that was a great win for a number of reasons. Number one, they've played really well lately and came in with a lot of confidence. Number two, you look around the league right now, anybody's beating anybody. It's kind of the dog days, and it requires great mental toughness to win consistently this time of year. And then they made some shots. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein and Kamara made 14 threes between them, which is a lot of threes for those guys, and really tested our conviction on our game plan and obviously put a lot of game pressure on us. So for us to endure that and still have a good defensive night and come out with a win was really impressive to me.
Yeah, speaking of Kamara, you have coaching a lot of great defensive players in your team, but at the Blazers side, how would you see Tumani's defense? And also, this is his career night, having the highest score, 24 points.
Yep. Kamara's a good player. He's got positional length, and he's got a great motor. He reminds me of like a Herb Jones type disruptor because he's big, but he also pressures. He plays up the floor. He tries to deny, and was disruptive tonight. And then offensively, obviously he's a role player, but he drilled shots tonight and really hurt us. So he had a great night. Credit him. It put a lot of pressure on us. So we're happy to get a win coming out of here.
You get both Isaiahs back, and they both made an impact right away.
Yeah, Hart, I thought was great. Just a really balanced night for him. Good spacing, good passing, good screening, and then the offensive rebounding. He had that possession that was a huge swing possession in the game. And Joe was really good. I thought he really helped that second unit, especially in the beginning of the second quarter. That group had a really nice rhythm on both ends of the floor, and he was a big part of that. So it was great to have both those guys back.
During the last visit, you kind of have a small lineup in the rotation, but this time you put on Usman and also put in Dylan. How is those big guys coming back? Also Isaiah, what would you expect when even Chad is coming back? Those big guys, what can they offer to the team? Yeah,
we want to be a team that can play different lineups on different nights and pick at different matchups, and we want to be a very adaptive team. And so having Hart coming back, getting him back in the mix was important. Jay Wills played well in his absence, and we wanted to stick with him. But we obviously have the ability to go small. So I thought Us gave us really good minutes tonight, especially to start the second quarter with that group. And so we just want everybody to be playing at their peak and to their strengths, and then we can deploy a lot of different lineups as needed, and that's our deal.
I know they took and made a bunch of threes, but they only scored 22 points in the paint. Just had not much success there. What did you all do well defensively to take that away?
Yeah, the top two guys for us are Simons and Grant, and Simons was 3 for 10 and was really quiet in the first half. Even on attempts, I think he only had 5 attempts in the first half, and Grant was, I think, 0 for 2 or something like that, 2 for 5. I don't know what he was, but it was really low attempts, and that's a good way to start. Take away those guys, take away the rim. We were good on the offensive glass in the first half, or defensive glass in the first half. Second half, they started crashing more, but we wanted to make those other guys make contested shots, and they did. And so that's why I said it tests your conviction. But we stuck with it and let it win the day, and had a good enough night defensively and a good enough night offensively to come away with a win.
That sequence that ends in the Usman dive to the rim and one. Just what goes through your head as a coach when you see that level of passing, cutting, off-ball movement?
Yeah, great possession. And we had a couple of really good possessions with that group in the first half. They just had a great team rhythm, kept the ball moving, but were attacking, active spacing, cutting, and that possession was one of the best possessions of the year. It was really, really good.
Is this another one of those games where you're tested late and you guys pass the test, get the challenge?
Yeah, I thought there was some game pressure down the stretch there. We had to string together stops. We had to string together scores. We had to execute on both ends of the floor. And I thought we rose to that tonight. Again, I think people could look at the records coming into the game and assume something, but, they were playing really well. And it's a time of year that's really hard to win consistently. These are hard games to win. We don't take them for granted. We don't take for granted the effort that it takes by the team to come out of here against a team that was playing great and get a win.
Anybody else?
Not an easy thing to do, to win on the road against a team with a lot of confidence, and the Thunder are going to have to do it again, this time out in the Bay Area. Up next, the Thunder taking on the Golden State Warriors. We got a preview for you right after this. On the Portland Trail Blazers here in the Pacific Northwest, Isaiah Hartenstein made his return into the lineup, and after the game, he caught up with our very own Nick Gallo.
They put some great game pressure on you all. What did it take down the stretch to win this one?
Just executing, focusing on the details and just executing as a team.
Tell me about that moment. I think you had 4 or 5 cracks at it on the same possession. Bodies are flying everywhere. What's that like out on the floor?
It's That's the question again. What was the question?
That sequence where you had 4 or 5 cracks at it, everybody's diving on the floor. What do those sequences mean? What's it like out there during those moments?
It's big. I mean, it's just us sacrificing our bodies to get the possession, and so I think we just did a good job tonight.
And then just how about the execution late, getting what you want each trip down, and the connection on this team?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, we're just going to keep building. We've been executing. We executed good down the stretch, and we got it done.
All right, thanks, Isaiah. Congratulations.
Isaiah Hartenstein picking up right where he left off before he missed those 5 games with injury. A double-double in this one tonight. And don't be fooled by just the points and just the rebounds. This guy is such an intelligent basketball player. Look at the passes he's making over there. The Isaiah to Isaiah connection, the backdoor cut to Isaiah Joe. He finished the night with 6 assists. His facilitating is so impressive. Oh, and don't try to shoot over him either. That's not a great idea. Blocking some shots in this one. Finishing above the rim. He truly is so impactful out there on the floor, not just in his points, his rebounding, but also his facilitating and his ability to protect the rim. Some great minutes from Isaiah Hartenstein in this one in his return into the lineup, and Isaiah Joe as well. He also made his return to the lineup and gave the Thunder bench a big lift in this one as well. All right, the Thunder, they're going to head out to the final stop on this road trip. It is out in the Bay Area against the Warriors on Wednesday. And then the Thunder returns home to Paycom Center and kicks off a 4-game homestand starting the month of February with a matchup against the Sacramento Kings. That game is on Saturday. And then they welcome in the Milwaukee Bucks from the Eastern Conference on February 3rd. What a way to kick off that homestand. What a game here inside of Moda Center. The Thunder taking down a very confident Portland Trailblazers team that came into this game with 4 straight wins. We're playing with a lot of momentum, a lot of steam, and the Thunder showing a lot of endurance down the stretch with some game pressure on the line. And now heading out to the Bay Area to take on the Golden State Warriors. That wraps us up here inside of Moda Center. The Thunder taking down the Portland Trailblazers. Got a lot of contributions from a lot of different players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the way with 35 points. And how about J-Dub with those 24, 5, and 8. Absolutely stuffing the stat sheet. The Thunder back in action on FanDuel Sports Network on Wednesday against the Warriors. That game tips off at 9 p.m., but Thunder Live will get you going at 8:30. Until then, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night.